Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Hello, our dear listeners, and you're listening to WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station. I'm here with Mr. Frank Nono and two special guests.
Yeah, but we're not gonna spoil it just yet because we're gonna go into a whole lot. But the studio is full today. Yeah. So, John, actually, I'm gonna steal things away from you really quick because today is Yom Kippur, and that's a Jewish holiday, and it's known as the Day of Atonement, which is considered one of the most important holidays in the Jewish faith. And according to tradition, it is on Yom Kippur that God decides each person's fate. So Jews are encouraged to make amends and ask for forgiveness for sins committed during the past year. And there are many ways of doing this, such as like fasting, prayer, taking off of work, and just having a moment of reflection. But that's some knowledge, since I'm all about appreciating and understand different traditions and religious beliefs. But yeah, just want to give awareness, since us, we have the day off and we're not Jewish. I don't think so, right? All right, good. So yeah, John, I'm gonna hand things back over to you before we get into who our guest stars are.
I actually want to mention a little brief thing I found interesting. This is like the second time this happened this year. It was a new Vincent van Gogh painting has gone on display, and it was called Study for the Worn Out. I don't know. It was just an interesting little detail. But getting into other things, SpaceX just had a recent launch. It launched last night, I think, from Cape Canaveral.
8:07, I think.
And
but
then
who's counting?
Oh, you know more than I do. Well, it's going to be an interesting flight because it's going to go for about 2 more, including today, 2 days. And I believe it's every 90 minutes they circle the entire Earth, right?
I believe so. Maybe a little bit sooner.
It's an entirely of tourists too, like space tourists. So
yeah, well, yeah, for them, because they have the higher orbit. So yes, probably, 90 minutes for them, because they are actually further out than the International Space Station and further out than the Hubble telescope. So they're 350 miles or so above the Earth right now. And I've got a little video here I saved.
Got a really good view, Becky. It was a picture-perfect night, a picture-perfect launch.
2, 3, 2. They got their own fan club.
All right, just a few seconds before 8:03 p.m. Eastern Time, SpaceX's Falcon 9 lifted off from here, Kennedy Space Center, and carried that all-civilian crew of Inspiration 4 to space. Now, in what's typical protocol for SpaceX, the rocket's first stage landing on a drone ship just a few minutes later, marking the 3rd time that booster had flown to space. It's the first time ever that humans were launched on one that's been used so many times. Elon Musk, who was on site, tweeting to the crew, quote, "It was an honor to wish you Godspeed before you left for orbit." And those newly minted astronauts, Shift4 CEO Jared Isaacman, Haley Arsenault, Cyan Proctor, and Chris Dombrowski, are currently orbiting Earth at an altitude of about 363 miles. That is higher than both the International Space Station and the Hubble telescope. It is an historic space flight. There are a number of milestones here. You have the first entirely non-professional civilian crew to become astronauts, the first Black female pilot of a space flight, the youngest American in space, and the first person with a prosthesis. Now, as for SpaceX specifically, this is now the 4th crewed mission since they have started carrying people less than a year and a half ago. They have another one for NASA scheduled at the end of next month, and the next private space flight for Axiom Space expected to happen as soon as January. There are currently 3 SpaceX Dragon capsules on orbit right now. And just in terms of Inspiration 4 specifically, there is no live video feed, so we're going to be getting updates and images in spurts over the next 3 days of this mission. You can see right there the cupola. This is the biggest window in space that they're actually getting to have these views out of while they're on this mission, and then an expected splashdown landing off the coast of Florida on Sunday. Okay.
So there you go. And I've got a little video I'd share with you about the cupola, because that is a first as well. And let's see if I can. There it is.
Well, while you're
Yeah.
pulling it up,
Yeah.
do my special guests have any comments on that? Are you guys like interested in space at all or anything like that? Like, what do you think? First black, pilot.
Mhm.
Oh man, I love to hear that.
I think that's really incredible.
right. What about you, Ashley?
I would say that's also very nice. Very nice that we have our first, black representation,
Yeah. And what is a prothesis?
Prosthetic.
Oh,
is prosthetic.
Sorry,
yes.
I was reading it. I thought it was prothesis.
Yeah,
But yes.
Yeah. Okay, that means that a plaster or a synthetic limb.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
All right then.
so let's
clip.
learn about the cupola. That's kind of
A
interesting.
little bit more about the cupola. This mission is going to debut the brand new Dragon cupola. It is integrated on top of the Dragon vehicle, and the largest continuous window ever flown in space. Here's a shot of it being installed. So the total viewing area is over 2,000 square inches. And again, it's the largest window ever sent to space by a factor of 2.
Yeah, this is going to be an incredible view for the crew. I think they even mentioned that a couple people can fit inside of the cupola at one time. And you may have seen the cupola on the International Space Station. That's actually a large cupola, but it's made of multiple different pieces put together. So you don't get that continuous view. This cupola will actually allow them to get that full continuous view. And since, as John mentioned, they won't be going exterior to the Dragon, it'll almost kind of give that feel.
So on screen right now, this is some testing that we've done.
Yeah. So it's just really cool. So they got these 4. They're really not necessarily going to get their astronaut wings, but 4 crew that are up in space, and they've got the best bird's eye view of planet Earth that anybody has ever had in space, other than the folks that have done the spacewalking.
So, will they be able to actually prove that the Earth is round and put all those flat earthers to rest?
If it's
Come
not
on,
Yeah.
right, guys? I know we've seen it because
Well,
they
the
are the
fact
only
that-
ones who have traveled out of our atmosphere. So, right?
Well, no, I mean the space station is orbiting as well, and but not as high of an orbit. So their orbit's taking them a little bit quicker around the Earth. I think about 45 minutes or so for the space station.
That's awesome. I'm just teasing.
Yeah. But it's amazing stuff. Yeah, so you could tell by the images sent back. Earth is definitely it's kind of egg-shaped too. It's a little fat in the middle around the equator, which is kind of interesting too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I guess. Well, like I guess expand things.
No,
and
it has to
that's
do with the spinning, I think,
Spinning?
and
Oh, well.
gravity. Mhm.
Oh well. All right. So enough delay. My special
What
guest.
delay?
I-
It's science.
Oh well,
It's
yes. but
This is
Oh, just a quick heads
breaking
up
news.
for any of our science nerds out there. The James Webb Telescope launch day is supposedly December 18th. It's like a successor to Hubble and supposed to be like 100 times more powerful.
Yeah, it is
So-
amazing. If it works,
If
if it works, they don't even know.
And I believe it's getting shipped through the Suez Canal right now. It's not being disclosed because they're afraid they might get mugged by pirates.
Right. Yeah, it's
It's
amazing.
an actual-
mugged by pirates.
It's an actual concern.
Yeah. Well,
And then they're
we
going to have
talked
to
about this.
reassemble it
We've
and-
talked about pirates, haven't we? Yes.
Okay, take it away.
Okay, yeah, no. So, my special guest, please tell the world who you are, starting with the one right next to me, and then we'll go to the one in the back. So, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Ashley Cano, and I'm very excited to be here today.
Well, girl, give some background to who you are.
what
how
you do
we
in
met.
youth and
What
government.
do you do
Yeah.
in gig? Yeah.
I'm in the judicial branch for youth and government. It is my second year. Because of COVID last year, it was kind of, not really an off and on thing with me for a YIG, but I'm very excited for this year. Hopefully we can get back into the groove because, COVID was a very big thing last year. So I go to Suffolk High School. That is basically all the cool stuff about me.
But you're also a proud IB kid. You know, all of us are IB kids in the house, which is good representation. And then my one in the back, give a little bio of yourself before we get into the meat and potatoes of what I have for everyone today.
Hello, I'm Erin Mooney, and I'm 16. I'm also a junior in IB, like Ashley. I'm also in the judicial branch, and I'm excited that this year we're going to have an in-person state assembly. I'm really excited for that. And I play piano. Yeah.
You're really aesthetic, and she's going to be part of my IA. But anyways.
Oh, thank you.
So, no, of course. So let's get into my first topic of today. So yesterday, Ashley and I almost kind of healed our past shared trauma together. Both of us went to the cursed school of Anderson Middle School. Just kidding. It's not actually cursed, but both of us had very tough experiences while we were going there. And so our friend Sam, who was vice president of our youth and government program, she was like, hey, I got a driver's test. Can you guys cover for the Anderson Middle School kids in their JYG program, since both of you guys went to Anderson? And we were just like, oh, nah. And we're like, I mean, I was walking into
Can
the
you give me another assignment, right?
Yeah. Yes, no, and even Mr. Yankwit, our new YIG director and mentor and whatnot, he was like, no, we need you, please. I'm like, you better help me out with college, man. But we were we walked up in there into the front office, and we're like, okay, we have to meet this man that we never met before. And the lady was like, oh, do you guys know your way around? And we're just like, sadly.
Sadly.
It was so funny. But I mean,
so what was it like walking around? Was it
Actually,
the memories were kind of were just better. I mean, did you look at it a little more nostalgic than you thought you might?
It was very nostalgic walking into Anderson Middle School. I would say very much smaller than I thought it was. Going back there was just very exciting, but also very nerve-wracking because, most of my years in that they were not very pleasant, and I don't think they were for a lot of middle schoolers actually. So Nono and I were just kind of contemplating at that point. We were just like,
And then the funny thing too is that both of us come from two perspectives of I was in the gifted program and she wasn't, so she had a lot. So both of us were kind of scared. We're like, oh, is this teacher still here? Is that teacher still there? And we were walking up the steps and we were so nervous. But what made that experience so healing for us, like I said, was the fact that there were 3 kids that showed up to the JYG meeting, but these kids were phenomenal. And I'd like to first dedicate the show to those 3 kids because they've inspired me to talk about some things going on later. So take that as your foreshadowing. But they were remarkable. I asked one of the kids, I was like, hey, so what youth YIG is so good because it gives you a perspective into what is going on outside of Florida. And basically, I mean, not Florida, Anderson and Stewart, our little hubble that we have here, and even Hope Sound. And I was like, hey, tell me, what do you know that's going on within the legal world of Florida all over the state? For an example. And this kid was like, well, our governor is Ron DeSantis, and there's going on with this, and we have these mask mandates, and there's something going on with Mexico. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was listing all these things that were currently happening. And I was like, and Ashley was like, wait a minute, because we didn't know it. I wouldn't have known. So I was just like, okay, there's hope for the future generation, number one. And number two.
So they're well grounded. In today.
Very much.
Yes.
Very much so. But before we get into the conversation that we had during that little hour that we had together, I'm going to break away and I'm just going to ask 2 questions that have been killing me. Okay, the first one is
here we go.
Garlic bread or cornbread? Just really quickly. Cornbread, right?
Garlic bread.
Garlic.
No.
Unless it's good cornbread.
I would have to say garlic bread.
It depends on what you're eating. Now, if you're eating spaghetti, you have to have garlic bread.
Exactly.
Right? Cornbread is great if you're eating chili.
Okay, fair point. But you know what? Callers, call in.
Yeah.
Tell me which one. But the second one is...
well, who's going to keep track?
I will. But because cornbread is superior. But so this is a question that
I
literally...
made cornbread last week and it wouldn't rise. Maybe my package was too old.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, cornbread has to
Yeah,
rise for real.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's tough. I'm sorry, Mr. Frank.
Yeah.
But okay, so this question it stemmed from something that broke apart our anthropology class. And our anthropology teacher, she's very much rooted in like feminism, women's rights, and whatnot. And one of my classmates was like, all men are crazy. So, you know, you need to carry around a shank and everything like
I'm
that.
telling you, I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay?
But anyway,
Yeah.
so
I've got 68 years of experience. Trust me.
I believe both sides of the, can be pretty crazy. But this is what this girl was saying. So I walk into my class because I had watched this video from this YouTuber, and he's talking about how in order to protect yourself, just overall, regardless of gender, is look up who are the child predators in your area, who's like registered, have devices that you can defend yourself with.
Yeah,
and
like
one of them was
pepper
like,
spray. Yeah.
I'm so happy you mentioned that because he said, don't use pepper spray, use bear spray. And I don't know if you've seen bear spray, but that stuff is wild. So
Yeah. Bears
should
don't
we
like it.
allow?
Mm.
And now this is like my little icebreaker question.
Okay.
So we're going to go around the studio.
This is just a prep for the question.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Should we be allowed to use bear spray as self-defense, or would that be seen as an excessive use of force?
Yeah, because most people aren't bears.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a little excessive.
Yeah. Mhm.
What do you think, Ashley?
I would have to agree with Aaron on this, but it is a little bit excessive.
Yeah.
There,
I mean,
yeah,
it's meant to
okay.
take down a whole bear, and it's just a person.
Okay, and what about you, John?
Probably the same thing.
He looks so concerned. But okay,
No, at least no self-defense first.
but here's the thing: like, there are some people in the world though who do not go down. My dad has told me like horror stories. I've read horror stories of like people they get tased. Are you guys familiar with the movie Split? Of
I am,
anything?
yes.
Yeah. So people with DID, and this is not to like bash on the mental illness, but some of them have alters where they are like strong and they completely change and they get like this supernatural strength.
Right.
So if you were to like tase them or shank them or something like that, they're not gonna go down. And it's serious. And some people, like, you spraying with pepper spray, they're not gonna go. So, and my friends were like,
This is
nope,
why-
bear spray.
This is why you need a special relationship with God. And then-
Amen to that.
And then everything's good.
Amen to
All right.
that. So are you sure it'd be used as excessive force?
Well, I didn't think about like split personality things.
Well, that was just one example, but just like overall.
Okay, but as on a population, what
Mhm.
percentage of those people are going to be out there looking to do harm?
Mhm.
You have to look at statistics and probability. You probably have that in one of your math classes.
Yes.
right?
Sadly.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah, sadly.
And when you really ferret it all out, it's very unlikely. It's more likely you get hit by lightning or something.
That
Yeah.
I guess that is true. Our teacher did get struck by lightning last year, didn't he? Right?
Who?
Zimmerman? Yeah, he was
So
on
we
a
have
motorcycle.
shark
That's
attack,
Yeah, so
electrifying.
and
that's
we also
pretty-
have lightning.
Yeah. So I guess you're right in that sense. So all right, that was just a little warm-up question, just to have a little bit of fun.
All right.
But so
That
going
was
back
fun.
to the
What?
going back to the Anderson Middle School experience.
Yes.
These
Wait
kids.
a minute. Wait a
They,
minute.
oh,
wait a minute.
oh, we have a caller already. Yes, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
All right. Go ahead. You're on the
Hello,
air.
caller.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to frame this. It was a great way you framed the question about the person that's being attacked
Mm,
using bear spray.
mm.
How about a broader view at things? I sometimes I drive a lot, and people wield their vehicles like weapons.
Mhm.
And I wonder how the legal system would look if somebody that was being aggressed whipped out a 9mm and put a round downrange at the vehicle that was aggressing them. It's excessive. I mean, it's a bullet being fired at them,
Mhm.
but I'll argue that a several ton vehicle powering down on me for no apparent reason other than someone's aggression is a little excessive. So, you know, there are bigger thought processes that have yet to be defined legally.
That is true. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. And
This is why I think autonomous cars would probably be the solution for a lot of this.
I'm with you.
The self-driving
I'm
cars?
on pins and needles on the edge of my chair for that.
Yes.
I'm waiting for it. I've driven well over 2 million miles in my life. And I mean, that puts you in a special kind of club for drivers, but I would hand my keys in tomorrow to get autonomous cars.
All right, well then, thank you. That really gave me a different perspective, huh? Because like I said, this was something really funny that arose out of class, and I remembered that YouTube video, and I was like, bear spray? Never heard that one before. And then my friends were like, you have to use what you have to use to defend yourself, but that is a good way to put it into a different perspective. So I thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks for
All
the
right.
call.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye. So going back to what we talked about at Anderson, I now pose the question, because this came from one of the kids actually, is should children be allowed to vote?
I don't think so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ooh.
Right.
What do you think, John?
What's your definition of a child?
Okay, so like the age. So
Under-
when I was
under
doing
21, right?
Yes. So when I was doing research, what I saw was people were, because there are actually people who wrote articles who were like, no, like kids need to vote, which I was surprised about. But they were saying from the age from like 6 to 18 is what like where they want to like lower it from. So what do you think, Ashley? Since you were there,
I would say, I would say that depending on how responsible and mature the person is, a lot of that has to go into whether or not they should be allowed. You know, it should be considered.
So the brain's not fully formed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're also talking about a whole age group. I mean, also even adults.
And-
but you know, and we did have this fully fleshed out conversation yesterday.
And
But I was like,
who's pushing for this too? Because there's always an ulterior motive. It isn't necessarily to do good.
And that was actually one of the
Right.
topics that we brought up, because so the junior YIG kids, they have to specify within the legislative programs, which means that they have to write bills. So we were like, hey, so what are you passionate about? And one of the kids was like, you know, kids' rights and being able to vote. And so they were it was so cute. But I was like, okay, so if you're gonna write a bill, these people, they're going to do everything in their power to shut it down when it comes to the actual event, when you're presenting your bill to whoever has the power to pass it, right? And so we were like, let's come up with some counter arguments. And one of them was outside influences, like parents, friends, peer pressure, all that type of stuff. So the kid, let's say in a world where kids are allowed to vote, they would not be voting out of their own individuality and personal responsibility, but rather because their mom told
They
them or their friends.
certainly wouldn't be voting out of their depth of years of knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Too much influence by
Yeah.
like your family and your friends to really have your own opinion at that age, I think.
Yeah. Do you have anything like, because our other things was like maturity, you know, a lack of maturity. And how do you even define maturity at an age like that? Do you have anything else you want to add on that? You see,
Well, that's a good point. I mean, I think a lot of kids would be mature and well like rounded in knowledge at that time, but I think the majority aren't. And so to say that like all kids could probably wouldn't be the best thing.
Yeah, right. Like, and I think the same thing goes with like driving. Like, should we lower the age of driving? And we hear every year, especially when the DARE program or whatever program comes around, to be like,
They still have a crash card they put out in front of the school. Martin County High used to do that for years.
Really?
Yeah, they'd have a crashed car that came out of the dump, you know, or wherever, you know, where people lost their lives through drunk driving, right? And so the vehicle was waiting to get scrapped, and they would set up maybe a vehicle aside for display. And to give you, as you pull into the school, parking lot.
Yikes.
Give you a little food for thought.
Yikes.
You're definitely going to think, I don't want that pretzel that used to be a car, my car to be that too. So
That's
I think
actually a really good deterrent.
Yeah, I would think
No, we
so.
have
Jeez.
one. I at least saw it during my freshman year, and it was there like 4 years prior when my sister went there. I didn't see it last year because I didn't go, but I think it's still there.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Like the little curve when you go out, right? That little after you take a left, right? And during that little curve, they used to have, or like certain times of the year, what it was, they had one car getting rear-ended at that little curve.
Oh, I never knew that. I never. Okay. Oh, well. So that was something interesting that came up. But we have to go to break.
We do.
So stay tuned since we're going to move on to something else and some more questions about our society.
All
so
right.
stay tuned.
Okay.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come.
Hello, you're listening to WSTU, and we're back from our break. Nona?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna jump into my next question, and so it's what do you think people in our society work towards the most, appearing successful or being successful?
Oh, that is a good question.
That's a good
I
question.
would say that appearing successful would be the side that I'm on, because a lot of the times people want to be look happy versus actually being happy, and I think that goes along with like appearing successful versus actually being successful.
Okay, but then why do you think that is?
I would say because of society and because of the internet and how we want to always look like we have everything under control and we have everything organized in our lives.
Okay. All right. And sorry to cut you off, but we do have a caller on the line. So caller, please go ahead. And I'd love to hear your answer to our question.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh my God, it's Mr. Bob. How are you?
Yeah, God, you can't help but being Mr. Bob, you know. I love the topics. Let me rattle off a few things so I can get out of your way. What, the first black pilot to go into space?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Right?
That's a big progress. And God, what a long way from the back of the bus. I think the United States is doing its best.
Mm-hmm.
As long as she doesn't pull into a checkers with 8 people in front of you, that'll be fine.
Yep.
Very good.
And I like that bear spray.
Yes, exactly. I mean, yes, it might be a little bit excessive, but
a little overkill.
a little overkill.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's late at night and I'm trying to go and somebody's trying to pull one on me, I'm whipping out the bear spray. And remember, I'm going to New York. So everything's 10 times worse in New York, right? Right? Okay.
You're not going to New York to begin with, but you gave me a great idea with bear spray. This would be I think I'm going to invent a bikini wax called bear spray.
What?
You know, you charge a lot for that stuff, and it doesn't need to be like that. So we can get that out of the way too. But yeah, it's I enjoyed it's very funny, your whole show right now. I am enjoying the hell out of it.
Thank you. And I know you're team cornbread, correct?
No, I'm garlic nuts. But no, you're showing your dark side there.
A little bit. I love me some good.
And don't give Frank cornbread with cheese in it because he's lactose intolerant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Many times I was going to have a pizza delivered. Many times I was going to have a pizza delivered to you guys while you're on the radio.
Oh yeah.
From around the corner there. Right by the theater. But then I would have to ask for like 1 or 2 pieces without cheese on it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
Mr. Bob,
socially
you have no
unacceptable.
chill.
No, but Frank's not allergic to shrimp. Like I cook a lot for a family, especially before COVID came. Every Sunday night I cook dinner. I'm a hell of a cook. But some people can't eat shellfish. Frank can. He goes to the Knights of Columbus fish fry every Thursday or something. But he can't eat anything. He can't have milk. He can't have cheese. He cheats sometimes, but then he throws up. He has to have pizza eventually with cheese, but then he barfs.
Oh my goodness.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm looking forward to the Afghans interpreter ladies coming from Afghanistan. I'm going to tell them, hey, I'm going to set up a dating site and they can take off the mask from their head and their hair and their face.
No.
But they need to save them because they have to clean my condo with those things. But I'm looking forward to that and get a designated driver. I mean, that'd be wonderful.
There you go.
Oh,
Designated
it's
driver.
always a hoot with you, Mr. Bob. Thank you so much.
Well, don't take me too seriously.
Of
Don't
course.
All right, I love you guys and take care. Don't give Frank any cheese or milk, all right?
All right. Just for you.
All right, thank
All right.
you.
Have a good rest of your week.
All right, bye.
But truly, I'd like to know why, because I feel as if society doesn't tell you to appear a certain way. I feel almost as if because there's so many people faking it, you want to be the one that actually has it, who can be like,
You've heard
no.
the experience, fake it till you make it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's sociological studies that have been done that people that behave as though they're happy, even though they're not, actually become happy.
So like manifesting?
Yeah.
A little bit, but it's just a technique. You know, in sales, they tell you when you talk on the phone, smile. People can't see you, but they could feel the difference in your whole mannerism. The sound of your delivery is different if you smile.
But
That's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair point actually. Okay, I didn't think about it that way. I was just thinking of it in the way like I feel like there's like everything we look at, even like college and whatnot. Like there's this one YouTuber on YouTube, and he got into a state university, Arizona State, right, with a 1.5 GPA. I think it was 1.85 GPA.
Wow.
And
just barely passed.
Yeah, barely. Like this is like that's low. Very low. IB kids are like sweating in their. I'm like, oh God.
So we're like, what? That's like a D minus.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it's you're literally failing.
Right.
And he took off a gap year and he applied to Arizona State and he got in, only to drop out.
Right.
After a year of making all these YouTube videos and whatnot, and he looks so happy, and his motto is "Do what excites," and I was just like. And then he took a break off of YouTube, and he actually kind of revealed that like everything he's been going through and whatnot, and how he feels like he has no purpose in life, and how all of his friends are actually in college and they have this drive and they're actually doing something with themselves, going after towards a degree and whatnot, while he's kind of bouncing from person to person, place to place, never has any true friends and whatnot. And I was like, now, from a kid like me who wants to run away to college, I mean, I feel like everybody's heard how much I want to leave. I'm running away, You're rolling your eyes, but it's true. A person like me, when I see that, I would say he's successful up until I saw that video, because I'm like, man, like he's so free. But it's that appearance of success, but then the truth is that you're not actually happy.
So he didn't apply himself in the right way, So he obviously knows how to do the work to make a video. Great. But that's it. So, so that's his skill set.
But I mean, that is the same thing with pictures, like those little Instagram snippets.
Right.
Like, what do you think? Do you think we work towards more appearing successful or actually having success?
Well, I think it honestly is like what defines success, I mean, that depend like person to person.
Right.
One person might look at someone else and see them living the way that they do, but they say, oh, that they're not successful, but that person's like genuinely feeling like fulfilled in their life.
I mean, I guess that's true, but then that's what pushes me to ask like what is actual success? And on top of that, I know that's what you just said, but it's like, if because people are just like, oh, success is happiness, or success is money, or success is fulfillment, but like those are temporary states of being, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, and literally, my brother, I was talking to him. He's like, and I was like, hey man, like I just want to be happy. He's like, happiness does not exist. I'm like, man, okay, there's things like that. Like there are people out there who don't even believe that you can even achieve those states of being. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then, even then, like if happiness, fulfillment, money, even if these things are not tangible for a long time, what is success if success itself is also something that you can't hold on to forever? So in a sense, are we all just appearing successful at the end of the day?
Something to ponder.
John, how do you feel? You've been a little bit quiet. How do you feel about all of that?
Success-wise, I'd say it's societally enforced, like contrary to you, because, for example, if I took two opposing people, it could be different gender or whatnot. If I put one guy absurdly quiet, you could frame him as, well, you know what? Just take society, rich versus poor. Those have negative connotations or positive on each. One's going to be like, oh, if you're poor, you're not going to be happy, things like that. But I think like states of being, it depends. Like for me, at least, if you're moving forward, you're going to be happy. Or if you're moving forward, at least you're moving forward. If you're not, you're going to stay stagnant and you're not going to be able to move forward or achieve anything. But we're talking about other people there, so I feel like it's more looking out rather than them looking within.
Ooh, the power of perspective. Okay, I'll leave you with that one since we have to go into break. But stay tuned since we're gonna move on. All right then. Thank you.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
There is a solar deal available right now that sounds fake. Not only do
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Hello, and before we get into our last segment, John, do you have anything you want to like finish out with us today, or any topics?
Well, most of the stuff is in the news, like AUKUS, things like that. But well,
all right, no problem. Just want to make
you know.
sure. Anyways, so my last question is: what aspects of society do you think are romanticized or glamorized?
Wolf.
Well,
Alright,
for
don't-
sure. Maybe appearance. I mean,
Okay.
They got a magazine called Glamour.
yeah.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, John?
Other than that, probably the body.
Okay. And what about you, Ashley?
I would say social media platforms and how they live their life. That's really glamorized and seen as like, oh, if you live this certain way, you are like better than everybody else, you know?
Interesting. Okay, I felt like I thought you guys were gonna go into like broader topics, huh? Because I
have one
wrote
more.
down. Oh, you
Taking
do?
things from somebody.
So like stealing?
Not like that, but like, for example, kind of like a marriage type thing. Like does that make sense? Like you have ownership over something, not like that. Like they're still separate being, but you still have a part of that, like something like money.
It's like materialism. and, like,
Materialism.
yeah.
Okay,
Kinda like
materialism.
you have
Yeah,
something
okay, good.
over somebody, or you have a part of them.
All right,
Or you have a part of
now-
something.
Wow.
Okay, good. That now we're getting somewhere because some of the points I just want to bring now, these are just very broad topics that I wanted to expand on. But one of mine was like there's this new trend of being the main character or having like an iconic childhood. And Mr. Frank, you probably don't know, but like being the main character is like, oh, you look a certain way and you wake up and you're like perfect. And then like, you know, everything bows down
Like a
to
movie
you.
could be made about you.
Yes, that's the main character. Like your life is a movie, and that's the romanticization of it, you know, and having like the iconic childhood. And when I realized that there's this sort of trend, and this stemmed from those kids that we were with, I was looking at them and was like, these kids are so normal. Like, they're not even as messed up as I was when I was in middle school, because we all know I had my racist phase. Not too good. And I don't know what Ashley went through, but that wasn't good either. But these kids, they were like they wanted to be lawyers. One of the kids was like, I want to be an FBI agent. Nice. The other one was like, they were so focused and, like you said, grounded. And I was like, wow, and they're not out here on TikTok self-incriminating on whatever crime that they did. There's like even this new trend called devious licks. Yeah, our school's shutting down everything as well. I'm pretty sure Jensen Beach just shut down all of their bathrooms, something like that. And we might have to go to a system where you have to be escorted in order to use the bathrooms. There's word on the street about that. So, but it's crazy. And I mean, when you look at shows, there's a glamorization, which is like it's praised and it's seen as something good of like kids our age partying and having like the aesthetic lights and doing drugs and being a part of this crazy murder mystery because I don't know, somebody messed up. Do you know that? Do you like follow what I'm trying to say? Okay. So it's just this main character, iconic childhood almost character. It's this idea and concept that all of us are supposed to fit into that is almost propelling like social media, YouTube, all these popular people that we're looking at. And I was just like, but this is so disconnected from reality, and I don't know how we can rectify something
and it's
like
so
that.
damaging to all try and be the same thing. We can't all be the same person, and like I feel like it's bad for self-esteem if you're comparing yourself to that.
Yes, and that's why I brought up you being aesthetically pleasing, because I feel as if and I know South Fork is a place where a lot of other kids, they dress aesthetically. That's why I'm doing an internal assessment on the way you dress and the aesthetics that you fit into, because it's you taking ownership of who you are and not trying to be this main character in this sort of
all right, I'm going to give you a homework assignment, and it's a movie.
Okay.
Captain Ron.
Captain Ron?
Yes.
All right, guys.
All right.
Captain Ron, all right?
Okay.
We all of us have went through Ballard. Yes. We know how to analyze movies. We got this. We got this.
And then come back, give me a report next week.
All right, I will. I got you. That's my homework, everybody. But I mean, in another one, you're talking about self-esteem. I think mental health is also glamorized. I can mention 3 shows that stem from the topic of mental health, and I would say only 2 of them do a good job of actually showing an accurate portrayal. The 3 shows are BoJack Horseman, Euphoria, and 13 Reasons Why. I watched all of 13 Reasons Why when I was in middle school. Bad idea.
That was a bad idea for me as well.
You did that too? Oh my God, bad idea. Because 13 Reasons Why is a glamorization of suicide and bad mental health. And it fits into this main character ideology where high school is just some big fantasy drama and you're the center of attention and the world revolves around you, when everybody's just trying to do their own thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, am I right?
You're right.
John, am I right? Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, it's just, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is, and even with like artists, like people, there's this whole entire thing now where people are faking mental disorders. Have y'all seen that?
I have.
It's almost as if they're glamorizing mental illnesses on social media platforms.
Right. So that they can get more attention. It's really more about attention.
Totally.
It really
more
is.
Followers, more sympathy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, but to live out this like movie world that nobody exists, like that nobody's really watching you. And even then, I also put down the celebrity life.
So you're trying to, did you ever see the movie called The Truman Show?
Yes, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it? I've never.
It's like this, basically, like he's inside this fake world, right?
Yes.
And everyone's faking it. Like his family's faking it. They're not really his family. It's like it's a TV show that people watch all the time, and he thinks it's his real life.
Really?
It's scary.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, I got 2 movie analysis for you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I look at it and I'm like, the celebrity life. That's where I wanted to move on to next. Okay. Even then, like the Kardashians, for example, everybody, the show was called Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And there's certain aspects of them where it's like, oh yes, and I wish I was like that. And then TikTok and Instagram and all these different things, it's like, oh, like you have to be like them, or you have to fit like these super huge social media stars that everybody glamorizes. And again, it creates a disconnect, because it goes back to that, are we appearing successful or are we actually successful? Because in our eyes, I'm not gonna lie, the Kardashians are successful. I mean, they live in more lavish than I hope I can reach. I ever will be able to live.
You have to, quantify what you value as success.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's superficial. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Maybe they're totally unfulfilled.
Right.
No,
but we all think that they're okay.
And that's exactly it, because it's like, are they really happy? I know happiness is like temporary, and like my brother was like, it doesn't exist. But like, really, like, when are they happy with themselves, when all those cameras are on them, or every time they walk down the street they're being flashed by cameras and whatnot? I mean, are the kids who look up to them and do all these, I think the trend was like devious licks, are they're pulling their schools apart, posting it to get 1,000 likes on the internet. Are they happy?
Wasn't there an entire like Kylie Jenner lip challenge where people were like, could go to the hospital for messing up their lips, making them bigger to look like her, who had plastic surgery?
I mean, any comments, Ashley? Like,
no, yeah, I definitely agree. Like, celebrities, a lot of people wonder, whether they're actually happy or not. And I feel like that goes along with the topic of like, does money equal happiness? Because it's like we see these people and we think they're successful because they are rich, or they have big houses, they own businesses. And it's like a lot of people that are striving to be like that see that as success. So it's like, does money equal success, or does being happy equal it? So
and it's the same thing with appearance. I know, John, I think you mentioned the body as being something that's romanticized.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So it's the debate of, are you skinny enough or are you fat enough? Are you gonna, if I lose 100 pounds, am I going to be finally happy with myself, and is the world going to love me? Or if not, it's all these things. And I just wish that maybe if we were able to take a step away from it, and whatnot, and if we were able to just understand that we can't have this warped perspective, because everybody here, everybody at Southfork, I look at Southfork because I'm gonna be honest with you, I was definitely that kid who was walking in thinking Southfork was gonna be like Riverdale and High School Musical. Like, kids are gonna bust out singing, and all of a sudden, like, a teacher goes missing, and we're the main characters. The IB kids are the ones who have to put an end to it. I have a very imaginative mind. Okay, I have a huge imagination. So I was one of those kids, and that was the romanticization of my experience. And then when I realized that everybody is just down to earth, everybody's trying to do the best they can for what they're going through in their day-to-day lives, and then there's this whole other reality, and it's like, where do we lie in the mix? Where do us normal kids, where do kids like the ones at Anderson lie in a world where we have to be the future?
Right.
Where do we go from there, right?
And if you talk to Bob, I'm probably Abby normal.
Yeah. No, you can't even have a milkshake. That's so sad.
No milkshakes for me.
No
ice cream cones.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah.
I can't either. Yeah.
All right. So I'd like to say thank you to my guests. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. And thank you for calling in if you did today. And we'll see you next week. I'll have those two essay reports and maybe some other gig kids coming on. All right.
All right.
So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
See you next week.
All righty.